From Spindle Mountain Mercantile, I am Heather.
And I am Lynda, but you can call me Mama.
Welcome to our YouTube channel. We are going to bring you several videos with projects we've made to celebrate America's semi-quincentennial. Today, we're starting with the first 6 projects, so let's jump right in. Project number 1. My friend Sherry always shares the best leftovers with me, and for this project, she gave me some gift wrap that has these wonderful old-timey patriotic pictures. Now, it's a little bit thick. She only buys quality stuff, so this is not your Dollar Tree gift wrap. This is really thick. I am using some shipping tape and just really putting a good amount of pressure on it. And then I'm going to start it there, put my little finger on there to get it separated. Oh, nope, wasn't stuck enough. All right, so we're going to start it here. And I'm just going to pull it back. And part of the paper will stick to it. So it makes it very thin. You've got to be careful when you're starting it, though, because it can like rip the whole entire paper right through the top. And look how much came off on that. It's super thick. I learned this, by the way, from watching Our Upcycled Life. For the second one, I put both pieces of tape down at the same time. And this is a good idea because if you do it like I did the first one, you can accidentally overlap, or you've already taken off some of the paper and it will make the middle too thin and it will either tear or you can see through it a lot easier than the other part. So it will look distorted on your whatever you're decoupaging. The decoupage medium I'm using is Debbie's Design Diary Liquid Patina in Crystal Clear Chandelier. This is available on our website at spindlemountainmercantile.com. I put a pretty good layer on it, and that is just actually, you know what that is? That big piece of wax paper, which you can use wax paper, but this is the paper from an IOD transfer. Waste not, want not. I put the same amount on the can. Oh, by the way, I didn't even show you these. These are like, I think they're wine bottle holders, but it looks like two old metal buckets stuck together, like galvanized with corroded paint on it. And I found this at my shop. It was only $7. So I had to grab it because I knew I could do something fun with it and get a little bit more for it. There's a rule in our shop that you cannot buy something from another vendor and put it right back in your booth with a higher price. Customers do not like that. However, there's a caveat, and that is if you change the item or upcycle it, do something like what I'm doing, then you can put it back in your booth. Now, after I got both of these papers on, I realized they were just a little too perfect. So I gingerly pulled them off of the cans or buckets, whatever you want to call them, and I ripped the sides off. A couple parts I thought I was going to rip a little too much, but wherever I thought I was ripping too much, I just put my thumb and my forefinger over it on one side and then tore it with the other hand. These turned out amazing. I don't know if I'm going to sell them with flowers in them or alone. Or, you know, y'all, what if I keep them? That wouldn't be so bad, right? I can't keep all the things, or can I? Project number 2.
I started this thing at my house, and I'm at Heather's now. Gonna finish it up. I painted this little box and glued it to it. This was a banner that we will install later, as you will see. I'm gonna glue in some floral foam so we can put some florals in it. I also put whatever. I can't think of the word now. To level out the truck.
It's a Jenga block, Mama, and don't even worry about it. I've been losing my words for like 5 years, so you're just catching up.
I'm going to trim these off to fit in my box here. Perfect. They brought my lunch. Isn't that nice? What is this, Mexican lasagna?
Yep, it's a layered birria dish that Zach made.
Mmm.
Isn't that good? Came up with it himself.
Delicious. Put some sour cream on it.
When Mama was finished with that super yummy meal, she put a couple of little blue flowers over the holes where she took this banner apart. And now she's gluing the banner onto 2 skewers she put in the truck. They're not staying, so she decided to glue them on and add a piece of tape, and that worked until it was dry. And then she took the tape off.
I'm going these little stars on skewers that are natural, unpainted.
Y'all have said you like it when I leave Mama and I's banter in my videos, but we had a little bit of extra this time. I was going to say, do you want to paint them with some dark and decrepit?
I don't think so. How's that?
I really like it. Do you like it?
Yep.
Everybody likes chickens, right? Mama added some red, white, and blue flowers to this little truck, and she was finished. Let us know in the comments what you think. Project number 3. Mama brought over this great flag batik fabric she had. We want it to look a little tattered, so I'm making little cuts on it where she can start her ripping.
Carrying it, so it won't look perfect. And this, what about this end?
I think it has to be right on the red or even a little bit further in. Check and see.
I think you're right.
Note to self, she said that right out loud on the internet.
We're mixing 1/3 water and 2/3 Gorilla Wood glue.
Mama is putting one really thick coat of our medium onto this plaque. This is a plaque I got from my friend Jerry. Her husband, who has passed away, had a bunch of golf trophies that were on these plaques, and she did not want to keep them all, so she gave them to me, and I have kept them for over a year, and I finally decided it was time to do something with them. So my sweet husband took off all of the wording and the pictures or whatever they had. One of them, well, I'll show you that in another video. You need to see the next one because that was cool. It had a little golf guy trophy on it. Anyway, so we are putting the flag on, and it got a little wrinkled, and it was too big. We were thinking it would go just to the edge. That didn't work. So before I move on, I made this other little video to show you what happens here. So I'm cutting a little notch in this. You have to cut before you rip, or those first threads aren't going to tear, and you need those cuts so you can get momentum when you rip, and that will make a good straight rip all the way down the fabric. Now I'm just kind of ironing it out with my fingers, and I'm going to fray it. When you cut to get the rip started, you need to cut up to your pattern. This one doesn't have a pattern, so I could really cut as far as I want or as little as I want. and not have to worry about it. But with a flag, I need to cut up to the flag and then start ripping. You can see right here on the left, right there, that's where I ripped it. It's all frayed all the way across, but right here on the right, see how it's flat? It's smooth on the top. That's because as it tears, each little individual thread goes poofy. But if you cut it, it doesn't. So you can still fray it, but it won't have that more messy look if you cut it and then fray it. You want to rip it and then fray it. I did this really fast because we've already done this part. This is the second flag. This one, we decided we weren't going to go all the way to the edges. We went, so there's maybe a ½ an inch all the way around. It was just easier to do it that way. And also, I wanted it to be frayed, and I wanted the frayed edge to really show. I want this to look like an old flag. That batik, you can see the little pieces of white in the flag. That's the type of fabric this is. I'm not sure how it works. I think it's something from Asia, and they put like a something on it, like a tie-dye. They put something on it and then they bleach. I don't know. I don't know how they do it, but it has designs in the fabric that aren't part of the design. Oh, y'all, sometimes the words just don't come out of my head the way I think they should. Moving on. Mama used a little tiny rolling pin that we bought when we lived on our boat because you still need to make biscuits on a boat, right? She used that to smooth out all of the air bubbles and wrinkles, and she just lifted it where it needed to be and put it back down. Turned out really, really good. And then we just took, I think I actually used my shirt later and wiped off some of that glue around the edges. Use what you have, right? And now she's adding another layer of the glue. And this is essentially working just like you would do a decoupage project. So you put down the glue, then you put your product down, and then you put your glue on top of it again. And we let that dry very thoroughly. So here's another IOD transfer whose name I can't say. I looked it up and I listened on the internets and it said Reduta or something like that, with a French accent, like Reduta. But I thought it was red out because if everything is white, it's a white out, right? So everything is red. So it's a red out. Well, apparently it's some French guy. Somebody came on my channel one time and said, I can't believe you don't know who this artist is and you call yourself an artist. And excuse me, little Miss Smarty Arty Pants. I never called myself an artist. I like to take old stuff and put it with maybe some new stuff or other old stuff and make it look cool or halfway good or awesome adjacent. I never ever said I was some aficionado. I couldn't tell you a difference between a Renoir and another art guy. A Picasso. Well, no, I could do that because Picasso, that guy's just weird. Okay, so I've talked so much now that if you want to know what happened, you have to rewind to look at the video. But maybe you watched it while I was talking. I don't know. You can tell that this went on very easily because when I first went over it with my transfer stick, a whole bunch of white showed up. And that means that that's where the transfer was coming away from the flag. And the whole thing was so easy. It just worked so well. I was super, super pleased with it. I thought I would have to use my fingers to burnish it right here. I didn't have to. The plastic worked just fine. Sometimes it sticks a little bit depending on what the surface is, but this was easy peasy, y'all. Now I'm going to use Pentart Classic Crackle. I learned this technique from watching Vintage Hen and Chick on YouTube. She's got a great channel. I'm actually going to reference her later in a different project. I'm just putting on this first layer of the Pentart. And y'all, the thing I learned from Vintage Hen and Chick was that you can crackle transfers. And maybe a whole bunch of people already knew this, but I didn't. And I'm kind of learning as I move along in this craft journey, right? And my YouTube channel, I'm learning as I go. And I hope that encourages other people who want to do the same kind of stuff, whether it be making stuff, crafting things, or if they want to start a YouTube channel. It just, you just gotta learn as you go. I wiped off the excess off of the sides and I let this dry thoroughly. Like you want it to get super dry. I left it overnight. and then I applied a second coat. Now, one of these got sticky quickly sticky. I can't remember which one, if it was the first coat or the second coat. So you want to kind of move fast. Once it's dry, you really can't see the crackle. So you have to put something dark in the lines. For that, I'm using dark beeswax from Old Fashioned Milk Paint. And I do sell this in my booth and on my website. I'm using one of my really old brushes and just kind of mushed it in there. And now I'm painting it onto the whole surface of the flag. You don't have to do like back and forth strokes or circular. It doesn't really matter. I just kind of was all over the place with that. So if you're OCD and you have to do straight lines, that's totally okay. I let it sit long enough that the wax would really get stuck in there. It was probably like 5 or 10 minutes. And then I took a towel and I just started wiping it back. I did use a circular motion for that part. And again, don't know if that matters. And I could not believe how good this crackle turned out. In some places it's like a little bit bigger, in other places it's little, and it's just perfect. This turned out amazing. Thank you so much, Vintage Hen and Chick, for teaching me a new trick. Project number 4. Mama picked up this really cool vintage oval-shaped grapevine wreath and that metal thing with all the stars. I already took some flowers off of this, and I realized right here I should show them what I did with those flowers. This is a project I think I did last week's video with this, and I put those, I could not believe how good the flowers went with Fern Fables. So I'll leave a link for that video in the description. Anyway, what do you think this turns for? It's got that little screw up there, and then the whole part. I don't know why anybody would need that to turn. So all I did was spray paint that wreath with white paint, and now I'm showing you how I made this messy bow. I learned this from Sabrina over at Sabrina's Craft Nanigans. She makes the best bows ever. Essentially, all you do is stack a bunch of ribbon on top of each other and then tie it up. But there's a little bit you want to do a certain way to make it turn out pretty. I am starting with burlap on the back of mine, and I made my burlap ribbon the longest. Right here, I'm just giving them duck feet. I know people call them dovetails. Ducktails. That's a Disney movie. You always want to make sure you give dovetails to your ribbon or cut it at a slant, and that way it won't fray. With things that like fabric, I'm making fabric ribbons here. If you fray them, then you don't have to cut those because, it's not, it's frayed. It's not going to fray more once you get done. It's kind of hard to pull those strings out, actually. I am making, I think I just made 2, maybe 3 ribbons out of fabric. No, I can't remember. I put the burlap down flat, just straight across, and then I made the blue pieces like an X, and now I'm going to alternate with the next ones. I'm going to put one down straight, and then the ones after that will also be slanted to the left or to the right. Transparency here. I did not use this bow on the finished wreath. I used a different bow, and I forgot to film that, so I love you guys so much I came back and did this again. You want to make sure you tie it in the back because it's going to curve around, and you want that curve to be in the back. I love how this wreath turned out. I think it is a great way for somebody's front door to greet whoever is knocking by saying, "Happy 250th birthday, America." Project number 5. This was such a fun project because, y'all, I thought of this myself. I saw, first of all, this was $20 at some point in time, and I want to say that my friend Sherry gave me this, but I might have picked it up at a thrift store. I just feel like there would have been a tag on it. But anyway, it ended up in my stash. So I removed the staples and took the mirror out. And then I removed almost all the staples from this one. I left some in the top so I could just reuse them when I reattached the backs. And I pulled those out with pliers. And I did not clean the mirror because I'm lazy. Okay, I'm not lazy because I don't have time for doing things I don't have to do. I don't think anybody's ever going to remove this decoupage fabric and think, oh, somebody didn't clean this mirror. I don't think that's going to happen. And even if they did, I don't know if I'd care. So I put my decoupage medium on the mirror, and it's Debbie's Design Diary Liquid Patina in Crystal Clear Chandelier. I used this instead of the wood glue with water that I used before because I'm putting it on glass and I wasn't sure how that would really adhere. And I trust liquid patina to the utmost when I'm doing most decoupage projects. So I trusted it today and it worked just perfectly. I'll tell you what, I'm totally digging using fabrics for decoupage, and my mama has a ton of fabric, so I get it for free. It gives it so much more texture. Mama makes a lot of quilts for Quilts of Valor Foundation, and she gives me her big scraps, so that's what I'm using today. I'm using red and white that I put in an up and down direction, and on the top, I'm using stars. I applied Debbie's liquid patina to the glass on the bottom and to the cardboard on the top, and then I put the fabric on it, and I added another coat of liquid patina and let both of those dry. If you are going to do anything with frames and resell them, you have to have one of these point drivers. I learned about this from Bailey over at Reclaimed Grace. I'll leave a link for one in the comments. If you buy something from Amazon by using my link to get there, they will give me a small compensation, but they won't raise your price. And this is my most favorite part because I thought of this all by myself. I have these great big spindles. I don't know where I found them, probably on the side of the road. They look like this, and they have two ends that are the same, and each end has a hole in it. So I have no idea what they were used for, but I forgot to take a before picture. That's what it looked like before I cut that off. And then I took it and I just laid it flat on my sweet husband's heavy duty sander with a really low grit sandpaper, like 80 grit. And I just pushed it down until it got flat and I could put it on the ledge. I didn't have to measure to find out the center because I have stripes. So I just counted the stripes, and there are 5 on this side and 5 over there. And I used wood glue. I think that would, I figured that would be the best to get wood to stick to fabric. And now I'm just going to put some greenery in here. And that hole doesn't go down all the way. So I'm showing you right there. I cut it a little bit at a time to make sure that it went in far enough, but I didn't want it to go above that gold between the blue and white stars and the red and white stripes. I didn't care if the other flowers did, but I didn't want that greenery to do that. After I was finished putting all this greenery in, I mean the florals, all of it, I added a little bit more in the end. I added some white flowers that I got at the thrift store right after Joanne came in and donated all their leftover flowers when they went out of business. So I got them for $5 for a big, huge box. I got 5 of those big boxes. And this is just an old letter sorter. I'm taking the eagle off of it. And when I showed this to my sweet husband, he's like, oh, we have lots of those out in the garage. I was like, really? I'm going to start using those. Debbie's liquid patina comes in 6 different colors. This one is called Golden Ticket, and you can use this like a paint, like a thin paint, and just give a sparkly coverage over your item, or you can put it on thick and use it instead of like rub and buff. And I really love this color, so I'm good with that. I also love Pennies from Heaven, which is a copper patina. After I let my liquid patina dry thoroughly, I got out my E6000 and put it on the back of this eagle. And first I was going to put it on without any glue, but those nails didn't hold it. So it popped right off. I didn't even pop it off. It popped itself off. That's when I put the glue on. And then I let it dry and I put those nails in afterwards. And I took a little brush and just touched up the top of the nail heads. First, I put some liquid patina in the holes thinking it would just fill up, and it didn't. So I touched up the nail heads and I was done. I went outside and hung this on my front porch, and y'all, my real flag was flowing behind it, and it was perfection. Project number 6. This is the other project that was inspired by the vintage hen and chick. Instead of putting her bonding agent in her milk paint, she put it on her item, and it turned out so good, and the crackle was spectacular. So I thought I would try it. I am using old-fashioned milk paint extra bond. You put it on your object and you let it dry completely. I went over it a few times with the brush and just made sure it wasn't super, super thick, but it had a good coat. And the paint I'm using is Harbor. It's a very light blue. I like to use equal parts of water and paint powder. And you put your water in first, by the way. And then I add just a little bit more so that I have it's like if I do 4 tablespoons of water, I'll do 5 tablespoons of paint powder, and sometimes I might even add a little bit more. The thickness you want it to be is like a melted milkshake, or you know what, more like a melted Frosty. So I put one really good coat, and I did the same thing I did with the extra bond at the beginning. I made it kind of thick, but not where it's like dripping. And I did go back several times on that and just touched up where it was dripping. And I wanted to show you this part because you can kind of see how you can see through it, because it was kind of starting to crack here. And I thought, well, maybe that'll be good enough, but it really needed another coat whether I wanted crackle or not. Okay, so now I'm back to adding the second coat after the first coat is completely dry. And it started crackling almost immediately. It was so fantastic. This is the best crackle I've ever had on any project. I 100% recommend this. It is fantastic. It's not even all the way dry here, and I'm showing it to you. So I'm used to clay paint because I sell Debbie's DIY, and I know it has to always be sealed, but I'm not sure if milk paint has to dry. And it's kind of weird because I sell it too, but I just started selling it, in my defense. So somebody out there tell me, are you supposed to seal it or not? I really didn't have to put anything dark on here because you could see the cracks really good, but I just thought this would tone it down a little and maybe not be such a bright light blue, if that makes sense. And I think this was a really good choice. I like how this worked. It was the old-fashioned milk paint. No, sorry, Sweet Pickens dark wax, beeswax. I sell old-fashioned milk paint, which also the company also owns Sweet Pickens, but I don't sell it. I can sell their products if it's like finishing products that old-fashioned milk paint doesn't have. So I can sell the oils and the top coats and the beeswax. But my paints are old-fashioned milk paint brand. I let this sit for about, I'd say 10 minutes before I wiped it back. Maybe it was less than that. And most of it did wipe off, but it made the cracks pop even more than they were in the beginning. And I really liked how that turned out. I decided I'm going to make a bow for this. And I'm not going to teach you how to make the bow. I have this bow tutorial in my playlist, and I will go ahead and add a link to that in the description. But I don't think I showed you how to make it with fabric. Just make it the same way as I showed you how to make the ones that have one-sided prints on the ribbon. It's not quite as easy to make a bow out of fabric as it is with ribbon. But once you master or master adjacent making bows out of ribbons, you'll be able to do fabric pretty easily. Right here, I'm just showing you how I fluffed it up because it kind of got flat and I wanted the bow to be poofy. Next, I just tied a piece of the red and white fabric around the neck of the vase, and I tied it in a square knot, which is left over right, right over left, or if you prefer, right over left, left over right. And I made sure that the ends were duck-footed and just a little bit higher than where the bottom of the vase hits the table. Then I used the long piece of blue that I tied around the bow to make the bow in the end to keep it all secure. I tied that all the way around, and I wrapped it around and crossed it over itself and brought it back to the front. And I tied just a double knot and made it pretty snug. And oh, before I did that, I think I should have done it before. I might have done it after. Oh, yep. See right here, before I tightened it, I went through and made sure that the blue was flat so you couldn't see the back of it. And then I tied the knot really secure and pulled it very tight. I wanted this to kind of look like one of those banners that's long and has the red and white stripes hanging down from the stars. So I cut these tails of the blue fabric pretty short. I actually went and shortened them up from here too, because I just didn't feel like enough of the red was showing. For the pictures where I'm showing you how this looks, I displayed it with flowers in it, but I'm not sure if I'm going to sell it with an arrangement. I think I'm just going to put some flowers in it at the shop and mark on both tags that they are sold separately because I don't want to mislead anybody. But I thought that way they could put their own flowers in it. Or, you know what, maybe they have some pretty white roses or geraniums or I don't know. Maybe they got something pretty they want to put in it. So I'll let them choose. Here's how it looked on my front porch. So did you have a favorite, Mama?
I think all of them are my favorite. I really like that vase that you what do you call it? Crackled. I want to learn how to crackle. Will you teach me?
Of course I will. We can do that in the next video.
And you know, yesterday I think I said I didn't like to hear people say, "Oh, I love that." But you know what? I love that little truck.
It's adorable. It's worthy of love. Well, I really liked your wreath. I thought it turned out so good. It was fast, and it just was one of those times where everything comes together, and you buy them all separate. That was pretty cool. But my favorite was probably the picture frame with the spindle vase. I thought that was awesome because I already had all that stuff. It was free, and I got to be creative with it. I like that. Some of these projects will be available for purchase on our website at spindlemountainmercantile.com, and the rest will be in our booth in Centerville Pickers Market in Anderson, South Carolina. If you haven't already become a subscriber to our channel, we hope you will join us. We do have a great group of subs, and we'd really like for you to be one of them. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Until you see us again next time, Mama and I hope you have a wonderful week. And as always, we hope you are blessed. Bye.